To academic graphing absolute value functions lecture. Okay, let's go.
Is the notes the packet?
Yeah, so one says homework 30, that's the homework. The one that doesn't say that is the notes, okay? So, absolute value, actually let me, absolute value functions. Graphing absolute value.
Sorry, can I move? There's a glare.
Yeah, you can move. Where do you want to move to? Can you move behind Alan? Yeah. Yeah, I wrote all of it instantly. No. So here's a good, if you guys want to write down the recipe for doing these, this is how we graph absolute value equations. Okay, you take first step, so the absolute value function is written as f of x equals the absolute value of x. This is called the parent function for absolute value function, for the absolute value equations. You'll see this in pre-cal in 10 months, okay? All right, pre-cal is hard, so. Yeah. Yeah. So the first step, let's graph this function here, okay? So the first step is we're going to look at everything that's inside the absolute value bars, so I'm going to highlight that, okay? We take all that, everything inside the absolute value bars, we set it equal to 0, okay? Right, and we solve for x. This is already solved for us though, okay? So this x equals 0 that I just came up with, this is going to be, I'm going to write it in this t-chart. It's going to become my middle value in my t-chart here. Okay? Good so far? Okay? And then the other values I write in my t-chart are going to be three numbers that are right to the left, or sorry, three numbers that are directly to the left of 0, so -1, -2, and -3. Okay? And then I'm also going to write three numbers that are directly to the right of 0, so 1, 2, and 3. Okay? So that's like steps 1, 2, and 3 here. Okay? That's steps 1, 2, and 3. All right? Then what I do is I fill out that second column in my t-chart, and I do that by taking each x value here, plugging it into my equation, and seeing what the equation pops out. So when I plug -3 into this equation, what do I get? I get the absolute value of -3, which is just +3. Okay? Same thing when I plug in -2, I get +2. Okay? So I just plug these 7 values into my equation, and I got these values out of the equation. Okay? So these 7 lines in my t-chart represent they represent 7 points that I'm going to plot. So that first column is my x value, second column is my y value. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and those red points I have, I'm just going to go ahead and plot those red points. So I'm going to do -3, 3, so left 3, up 3, -2, 2, -1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Okay, so I plot those 7 points. All right, we following so far? All right, and then I'm just going to connect them. Connect them with 2 lines, or 2 rays, I guess. Okay, there's my graph. I'm done graphing. There's my graph. Okay, it looks like a what? What does it look like? A V. Yep. The turning point right here, so let me highlight it in blue. This turning point right here, it's called the vertex. Yes, thank you. Okay. It's called the vertex. All right, what's the domain of this function? So I start, what's the farthest to the left it goes? Negative infinity, right? This arrow right here points up and to the left forever. I'm going to drag my finger to the right. I never skip any x values. And then I keep going. That arrow points to the right forever. So my domain is negative infinity to infinity. For range, right? I start as low as I can go. What's the lowest I can go on this graph? 0, right? Does that get a parenthesis or a bracket? going to get a bracket because at the point where y does equal 0, that's a solid dot, so that's part of my graph. And then what's the farthest up it goes? Right, it goes up forever, yep. Good job. Good job. Okay, that's it for the first example. Okay, that's everything.
So I got a question.
Yes.
You put x and then like a 0, like right next to it up there, so it says like solve for x, and you have like x0 in the side margin.
Like right here? Oh yeah, I'll ignore that. Sorry, I was trying to like figure out.
So don't write.
Don't write that. Sorry, yeah, don't worry about that. I'm sorry. I did that for B period, and then I was like, this isn't effective, so I didn't do it for E or F. Okay. Can I do the next example? Are we good?
3 values to write of x.
Yeah. So let's do it with this. Okay. So here's my function. What's the first thing I do? I look at all the stuff inside my absolute value bar. So x minus 4, and I set that all equal to 0. And I solve for x. So if I add 4 to both sides, I get x equals positive 4. X equals positive 4. So that's going to be my middle x value for my t-chart here, right?
Wait, why? Just because it's up there.
Yeah, so like whatever I get when I solve for x, I put the middle value of my t-chart.
So then just do like 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, so then to the right, so I'm going to do 3 to the left of 4 here, so 3, 2, 1, and then 3 to the right of 4, so 5, 6, 7. Okay?
Will it always be the v?
Yeah, it will.
And then you do like 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right.
So what I do now is that I'm going to take each value in this column, and I'm going to plug it into my function, and the value I get out is going to go in my second column. So when I plug 1, right, f of 1 is the absolute value of 1 minus 4, which equals the absolute value of negative 3, which equals 3. So that's going to give me 3 in my f of x column. When I plug 2 in, I get positive 2. When I plug 3 in, I get positive 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay? So I just plug each of those x values into the equation, and then in the second column, I wrote down what I got out of the equation when I plugged in that x value. Okay? So now I have 7 points, 1, 3, 2, 2, and so on. So I'm going to plot all those. So 1, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 4, 0, 5, 1, 6, 2, 7, 3. Okay. Now let's play connect the dots.
You said it always makes a v?
Yeah, it does. Either an upside down V or a right side up V. Here's a right side up V. Okay, that's my graph. So what's my domain?
Infinity, negative.
Yeah, negative infinity, positive infinity. What's my range? What's the lowest I can go on Y? 0, yeah. That's with a bracket. What's the highest I go? Infinity, yep. That's it. That's it for number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Okay. Are we okay if I move on to number 2?
Yeah.
Wait.
What
Wait.
number?
Wait. 2. Number 2.
Did you go over, so, I'm just gonna show you. Domain is up and down.
Domain is left and right, range is up and down. So think like domain, think like left and right, think range up and down.
Okay, so if there's arrows, infinity, but the second one is 0.
Because there's no arrows pointing down, right? So our lowest y is just
So we're upside down.
then it'd be negative infinity, and then we have a cap. Yep. All right. Number 2. Let's move on to number 2. So first step. What's my first step? Yes. Right. So I'm going to highlight everything inside my absolute value bars. Set it equal to 0. Solve for x.
Why do you equal it to 0?
Hmm?
Why do you equal it to 0?
That's a good question.
Because you have to solve for x.
Just I can. That's like a good question for office hours. Like why? Just all I can say is like that. You do it, and you'll get the right answer.
But it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's solve for x. You plug in 0 because you want to find the minimum value on your graph. Don't worry about what I'm about to say, but you find the minimum value. You want to find the minimum value on your graph. So you set 2x plus 6 equal to the smallest absolute value possible, which is 0. So, yeah. Okay. So this x equals -3, right? This becomes this middle value on my t-chart here, right? This becomes the middle value on my t-chart. All right, so let's write down 3 values to the left: -4, -5, -6.
You just always put it in the middle.
I do it. I like to do it that way. Yeah. And 3 to the right: -2, -1, 0. Okay. And then I get that second column by plugging my x's into the f of x. So that gives me 6 when I plug in -6. When I plug in -5, that gives me 4. When I plug in -4, that gives me 2. 0, 2, 4, 6. Okay. Yep. And then I'm going to plug in these are 7 points. The 7 rows represent 7 points. So -6, 6, -5, 4, -4, 2, -3, 0, -2, 2, -1, 4, 0, 6. Alright, and then I'm just going to play connect the dots here. What's my domain? Yeah, I don't skip anything in the middle, and then my 2 arrows point to the right and to the left forever. Negative infinity, infinity. What's my range? What's the lowest I can go on y? 0. Yeah, 0 with brackets. And then I go up forever, right? That's it for number 2. Okay. Can we move on to 3? Can I move on to 3? Thank you. Okay, number 3. Number 3, same thing, right? I'm gonna highlight everything that's inside my absolute value one. Yeah, for sure. Yes, sir. Everything inside my absolute value bars. I set it equal to 0. I solve for x. Oh, I already solved. All right, I already solved. Okay, so that's gonna become my middle value in my t-chart. I pick 3 values to the left. 3 values to the right of 0. Okay. And then to get that second column filled out, I just plug in these x values to f of x. So that gives me the absolute, so f of -3 equals absolute value of -3 plus 5, which equals +3 plus 5, which equals 8. So it's going to be 8. That gives me 7, gives me 6, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So why didn't you, so when you're like x equals 0, why is x equals 0 not y equals 0?
Yeah.
So if I plug in 0 for x, I do f of 0, it gives me the absolute value of 0 plus 5.
Which is 5.
Yeah, which is 5. So that's why there's a 5 there.
No,
Because I just thought that, oh.
You thought it'd be a line, maybe.
No, it's just because on this side we put -3 in the middle here, and we plugged it in there to add it back, but why are we doing x in here now and not?
I just did it right there, the second column. That's f of x.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's plot those 7 points. So -3, 8.
expression of y is at x equals 0, not x. That's like literally the first step.
I'm sorry, what?
Why is it, or why do you just assume it's x equals 0?
Okay, so what I did was I highlighted everything inside my absolute value bars. That's just x, and I set it equal to 0 right here.
You don't include the 5.
No, it's only the stuff inside the absolute value bars.
Alright, so that's what.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, I
So 5 gets canceled out. 5 is just gone.
Yeah, we ignore 5 for that, just for the first step, okay? Then once we fill out the second column here, that's when we take the 5 into account, okay? So let's graph those: -2, 7, -1, 6, 0, 5. Hopefully we're starting to see a pattern here. They all make B's. All right, so play connect the dots. What's my domain? The farthest to the left I go is negative infinity. The farthest to the right I go is positive infinity. We don't skip any x's, right? What's my range? Range is a little different here. What's the farthest down that y goes? Yeah, so 5, and then there's a bracket and positive. We're putting brackets for these because at the point where y equals 5, where I get this 5 from, there's a solid dot there. And that solid dot means that y equals 5 is part of my graph, so it's part of my range. So I need to put a bracket to let my reader know this is included in the range. On these absolute values, pretty much, yeah. I'm cautious. Can we do number 5 now? Let's skip to number 5. Probably not.
That one's like a fraction.
Oh, then number 6 then? We can do 5 and then 6.
No, 4 is.
4?
Like 4 is when
Let's not do a fraction, a fraction.
We'll start off as a fraction, but then.
What you guys do? We'll do 5 for sure, then we'll do either 4 or 6. Either one of those.
4 is already a fraction when you solve it up. So
Yeah.
instead of 0,
Okay. We can do 4 then. Let's do 4. Let's just do 4. Okay, we're going to do 4. Because I said so. Okay. Alright. So we're going to, alright guys, you got to calm down please. Calm down so you can do the homework tonight. Okay? We're going to highlight everything inside of my absolute value bars. Okay, set it equal to 0. Yeah, so when I do that, I get x equals negative 2/3. All right, so that's what's going to go here. Okay, I'm going to go 3 to the left, so negative 2/3 minus 1. Use your calculator. Good, yeah. Negative 2/3 minus 1. That gives me negative 5/3. And negative 8/3. Negative 11/3. This would be 1/3, 4/3. Let me look at the quiz. The quiz is already prepared. I gotta look at it. And then let's plug my x values into my equation. Okay, so let's do. Here's how I do that on my calculator. So I'm gonna plug. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug x equals negative 11/3 into here. So that's negative 11/3.
Wait, pause. Why aren't we using the same numbers? Oh wait, never mind.
Right.
See, enjoy the party, yes.
So here's how you do absolute value on your graphing calculator. So I got my graphing calculator out. I'm going to hit the math button. Hit the math button. Okay, I'm going to hit the right arrow key one time. That's going to take me over to the num menu, and I want the abs. I want the abs function. Okay, it's going to give me absolute value bars.
Wait.
Well, if you have parentheses.
What kind do you have?
Abs and what?
That's the same thing. That's absolute value.
Enter.
Okay,
That's so
enter
cool,
gives me
man.
9. That's 9.
I can't wait.
The negative 8/3, that'll give me 6.
Do you want it to solve it like that in the calculator?
You can't do it however you want to. that time. I'm going to graph these, so negative 11/3, that's like right before negative 4. And negative 8/3 is right before negative 3. I'm sorry, I'm doing this wrong, I'm sorry. Negative 5/3, comma, or negative 11/3, comma 9, so up here.
Oh, no, I got the
Negative 8/3, comma 6. Negative 5/3, comma 3. Negative 2/3, comma 0. And then 1/3, comma 4/3, comma 6. And then 7/3. There you go.
So are you gonna do this on the test?
Maybe, yeah. Negative infinity, comma infinity for the domain, range is 0 to infinity.
So the biscuit dinner.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my
well,
Wait, is domain gonna be infinity?
Can you zoom into the chart really
No
big?
way.
Hmm?
I just
Oh, I meant the graph.
Yeah, the graph. Is it gonna be infinity, every single
For absolute value, unless it's part of a piecewise function, yes.
Wait, why did you zoom out after you zoomed in?
Sorry, I don't want you to zoom. What do you want me to zoom in on?
Well,
Graph?
we have
Right
to
there.
see.
That's the
Yes,
graph.
keep it
Oh.
there for just a second.
Why is it? Oh wait, never mind.
Yeah.
so on the next, I know you're
If you don't
But-
know, right?
we don't, we can count it at all.
No, you set for the first step.
And then.
And then you do take the 4 in when you're filling the second.
Okay.
All right, guys.
So you put your fraction on the test?
Prepare for it, yeah, for sure. All right. All right, we're gonna skip piecewise. Okay, I'm sorry, but we gotta get the inequality stuff in.
That was.
Yeah, so let's get a couple of these inequalities in. Right, so this is just like graphing linear inequalities, except the graph just looks different. It looks like a V instead of a line. So we're going to graph this just as if it were the equation y equals absolute value of x plus 1. And then remember, I got to highlight everything inside my absolute value bar, set it equal to 0. All right, I get x equals negative 1 here, so that's going to be my middle value for x. 3 to the left, 3 to the right. Then fill up my y column. Where I plug negative 4 and I get positive 3, then I get positive 2, then I get positive 1, then I get 0. Yeah. Plot these points.
Oh yeah. And like you can't figure out.
And now I just play connect the dots, right? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong, right? So what kind of inequality symbol do I have?
Oh, that's so
Y is less than, not less than or equal, just less than. So I got to use what? A dotted line.
Okay.
Oh crap! I think you just told us.
Now you're going to remember it, though.
You rat.
All right. All right. So now do I shade above or below the V?
Isn't it below?
Below.
Oh, I thought you meant open circle. when you meant dotted.
Right, because this pink dotted line is all the points where y equals the absolute value of x plus 1. I want all the y's that are less than that. So I want y to be below. Below.
Are you just shading to show us, or do you have to shade?
You have to shade. Yeah, you have to shade. You have to shade when you graph an inequality.
Oh my god, he's already in college.
So why is it below?
It's below because y is less than the graph.
Where are you?
Y is a little less than. Alright guys. Please bear with me. Okay, number 4, let's do number 4 real quick. So we highlight everything inside the absolute value bars.
Like, that's why I turn side again, they're like, nope, we turn right.
No, it's zero. It's zero.
X equals 0, so it's my middle value, -1, -2, -3. 3, plug them all in. I get what? That gives me -3. -1. Give me, what does that give me?
Wait, no, what is happening?
Yeah, but isn't in a regular column it can only be positive?
Not all the time because there's a negative symbol here. We skipped the one I wanted to show you.
These are called inequalities.
There's a negative there, right? So like when I do y equals -2 times -3 plus 3, that becomes y equals -6 plus 3, which becomes y equals -6 plus 3, becomes -3, okay? So let's graph those 7 points.
I think the last 3 is. Never mind. It's negative.
So before I play connect the dots, am I going to use a solid line or a dashed line?
Solid.
Solid, right? Because it's y is less than or equal to. We shade when it's an inequality. If it's an equation, we don't shade. If there's an inequality symbol here, we shade. So what do I shade for this one? Y is less than.
You go there.
Below.
Wait, did you graph that? I thought you graphed.
I graphed that wrong, didn't I?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Did I?
0, 3.
-2. No, I didn't. I didn't graph it wrong. I didn't. Read and weep. Okay. Alright.
Never wrong. Should have the.
Yeah, I'm never wrong. What's that? That should be a -3. Yeah, so the chart's wrong.
Wait, how do you graph 0, 3?
I start here. I don't go left to right. I go up 3.
Why?
Is that? Hey, good. Okay, so that's that one. Can I do a piece one? Hi, piece one. Hey, guys, phone away, please. Maria, Tina, phone away. All right, can I do a piecewise with you guys real quick? Let's do this one. These are kind of tough, okay? So let's go over this. I'm on number 7. I'm on number 7. Yeah, on the notes. Number 7 of the notes. Yes, there is. Wait, is there really not?
No, it's just you were on the second page.
Go back to the second page. Right, so what's my first step? What do I do?
Set the thing. No, put the boundary line.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's 4.
4, yep. And then I'm going to label my pink function is going to be on top. My blue function is going to be on bottom. Okay. All right, so this is an equation. So am I going to graph that pink function to the left or to the right of my boundary? To the left, right? Because x is less than 4. All right, guys, please. All right, and I'm going to shade to the right for my blue function. Okay, so now let's graph the whole pink function in pink. Okay, so I'm going to graph -2x plus 1, so y-intercept is +1, slope is -2. Right? But then, right, I need to erase all of the yellow part that's in the blue region, so I only want my pink line to be in the pink region. And then on that yellow boundary, do I get a solid dot or a hollow circle?
Hello.
Hollow. Okay. All right, and then, so that's it for my pink. Now I'm going to graph the entire blue function, okay? So to do that, I've got to actually make a t-chart because I'm graphing an absolute value.
That's a lot of work. Do you really have to do that?
If you can, I mean, I'd recommend it since like you guys are beginners.
Wait, we did the second line.
What?
That's what we're doing, right?
We're doing this. All right, so I gotta highlight everything inside my absolute value bar, set it all equal to 0. Hey, don't use the Lord's name in vain, please. Okay. All right, x equals 3. Okay, so that's gonna be my middle value. All right.
Did you just do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as random numbers?
For x or
For X.
for x, so I got 3 as my middle value, then 3 to the left is 2, 1, 0. Yeah, so let's plot all those. So 0, comma 3. No, sorry, 3, comma 0. I'm so sorry. Just had. Yeah, 0, comma 3. Okay, 0, comma 3. I'm so sorry. 1, comma 2, 2, comma 1, 3, comma 0, 4, comma 1, 5, comma 2, 6, comma 3. This is an equation, so I don't need to worry about dash lines. Like dots. Right, and then, okay, that's fine, that's fine. All right, and then I'm gonna erase the blue, part of the blue graph that's outside the blue region. On that yellow boundary, do I get a solid dot or a hollow circle? Solid dot, yep, so that's my graph. What is my domain?
Negative
To infinity, right? Why do I not skip x equals 4?
solid dot.
Because there's one solid dot on that line, yeah. And my range is what?
Wait, what?
Negative, what is that, 6 or negative 7? Negative 7?
Divide cell.
Does that get a parenthesis or a bracket? It gets a parenthesis because there's a hollow circle. And then I go all the way to positive infinity. Right, I start down here as I drag my finger up. I don't skip anything, and this pink arrow points up forever. Homework for tomorrow. Sorry, yeah. And that's all she wrote for the video.